Good morning. Every morning, the rising sun brings with it a profound reminder that we have been granted another day to align ourselves with the plans of God. This is not by chance or coincidence, it's a divine opportunity. When we approach the start of our day with the truth of Jeremiah 29, we don't just begin our routine, we step into the fullness of what God has prepared for us. This scripture is not just a verse to recite, it is a declaration of purpose and a blueprint for living a life that reflects God's intentional design. Think about it, before you were even formed in your mother's womb, God had already written the pages of your destiny. You are not an afterthought or a mere byproduct of biological processes. You are an intentional creation crafted with care and infused with divine purpose. Jeremiah 29 reminds us of this truth. When God says, "I know the plans I have for you," it is a statement that eradicates doubt and reaffirms our worth. These words tell us that we are not accidents and our lives are not left to chance. Each of us was created with a specific purpose, a unique assignment that only we can fulfill. But purpose is not something we stumble upon, it is revealed through our relationship with the Creator. When you wake up in the morning, the world will immediately try to distract you with noise, worry, and fear. The enemy knows that if he can steal your focus, he can derail your purpose. That is why it is essential to start your day grounded in the promises of God. Jeremiah 29 offers you us clarity and direction, reminding us that God's plans are not only intentional but also good. God's plans are higher than our thoughts and greater than anything we could imagine for ourselves. His vision for our lives is comprehensive, extending far beyond our immediate circumstances. Sometimes we can become so consumed by the challenges of the present that we lose sight of the future God has prepared for us. But Jeremiah 29 speaks directly to that fear, reminding us that God's plans are filled with peace, not harm. This peace is not the absence of difficulties or conflicts, it is the assurance that God is in control. When you start your day with this understanding, it changes everything. You no longer walk through life reacting to circumstances. Instead, you live with the confidence that every moment is part of God's divine orchestration. Peace becomes your anchor, holding you steady even in the face of storms. This peace is a reminder that no matter what the day brings, God's plans for you remain unshaken. At the heart of Jeremiah 29 is hope, a hope that fuels our faith and gives us the courage to press forward. Hope is essential because it provides the vision we need to keep moving, even when the path ahead seems unclear. Without hope, faith has nothing to hold on to. But when you wake up each day with hope in your heart, you carry a divine expectation that God's promises will come to pass. This hope is not a vague wish, it is a confident assurance rooted in the character of God. However, it is important to understand that God's promises require our participation. Jeremiah 29 also tells us, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." This is a call to action. God invites us to seek Him, to pursue Him with intentionality and focus. Starting your day with God means prioritizing Him above everything else. It means carving out time to pray, meditate on His Word, and listen for His voice. When you seek God first thing in the morning, you set the tone for the entire day. You invite His wisdom into your decisions, His strength into your challenges, and His presence into every interaction. This intentional pursuit of God aligns your steps with His plans and ensures that you walk in purpose. Without this alignment, it is easy to become distracted by the demands of life and lose sight of what truly matters. Jeremiah 29 is not just a promise, it is a compass. It points us toward a future filled with hope, peace, and prosperity. But this future is not something we passively wait for, it is something we actively step into. Each day is a new opportunity to walk in the plans God has for us. By starting your day with Jeremiah 29, you align your heart and mind with His purpose, ensuring that you live intentionally and fulfill your divine assignment. God's thoughts are higher than ours. This truth from Scripture is both humbling and empowering. It reminds us that we are not the architects of our lives, God is. His plans for us go beyond what we can see, imagine, or even comprehend. When we meditate on Jeremiah 29, we encounter a divine blueprint, one that is crafted with precision, care, and a deep understanding of who we are and what we are called to accomplish. When God says, "I know the plans I have for you," He is declaring His sovereignty over every detail of our lives. His plans are not haphazard or reactive, they are intentional and eternal. They are filled with hope and tailored for our success. But here's the challenge: we often find it difficult to trust what we cannot see. Our human nature wants control. We want the full map, the detailed itinerary, the step-by-step instructions. Yet God, in His wisdom, often reveals His plans one step at a time. This is where faith comes in. Trusting that God's thoughts are higher requires us to let go of our limited perspective and embrace His infinite wisdom. Imagine standing at the foot of a mountain, unable to see what lies beyond the peak. That's how life often feels. Our vision is restricted by the present moment. But God, who created the mountain and the entire landscape, sees the full picture. He knows what's on the other side, and He has already prepared a way for you to cross it. Jeremiah 29 reminds us that God's plans are rooted in hope. This hope is not a fleeting emotion, it is a steadfast assurance that God is working everything for our good. Even when life doesn't make sense, His blueprint is still unfolding. You may be in a season of waiting, uncertainty, or even struggle. But God's higher thoughts remind us that no season is wasted. Every chapter of your life, whether joyful or challenging, is part of a greater story. His plans are not just about getting us to a destination, they are about shaping us along the journey. God's thoughts include not only what you will accomplish, but also who you will become in the process. Sometimes we focus so much on the what and the when that we overlook the why and the how, but God's higher thoughts consider all of these aspects. He knows what you need to grow, to mature, and to fulfill your purpose. What makes God's plans even more remarkable is their personal nature. His blueprint is not one size fits all. It is specifically designed for you with your unique gifts, passions, and potential in mind. God doesn't create generic futures, He creates divine destinies. His plans are tailored not just to fit your life, but to bring out the very best in you. However, embracing God's higher thoughts requires humility. It means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers. It means being willing to set aside our own plans and desires to align ourselves with His. This can be challenging, especially in a world that constantly tells us to be self-reliant and to take control of our own destiny. But true success comes not from controlling our lives, but from surrendering them to the one who knows best. When we begin each day with the truth of Jeremiah 29, we remind ourselves that we are part of a divine plan. This truth gives us peace in the midst of uncertainty, confidence in the face of challenges, and hope for the future. It frees us from the burden of having to figure everything out and allows us to rest in God's sovereignty. God's thoughts are higher, and His plans are better. They are filled with hope and designed for your ultimate good. Trust Him, seek Him, and walk confidently in the knowledge that His blueprint for your life is perfect. Even when you can't see the full picture, you can rest assured that the one who holds the blueprint is guiding every step of the way. Peace is the anchor of God's plan for our lives. When we read Jeremiah 29, we are reminded that the plans God has for us are not filled with harm, chaos, or destruction, but with peace. This peace is more than a fleeting feeling or a temporary calm. It is a profound assurance that comes from knowing we are walking in alignment with God's purpose. It is the foundation upon which our trust in Him is built, and it steadies us even in the most turbulent moments of life. God's peace is not the same as the world's peace. The world often defines peace as the absence of trouble or the presence of comfort. But God's peace goes deeper. It is not tied to external circumstances or fleeting emotions. Rather, it is rooted in His presence. It is the unshakable calm that allows us to face conflict, uncertainty, and trials with confidence because we know that God is with us. Consider the storms of life that we all inevitably face. Financial struggles, health challenges, broken relationships, and unanswered prayers can make us feel like we are adrift at sea. In those moments, the enemy often whispers lies telling us that God has forgotten us or that his plans have failed. But Jeremiah 29 reminds us of the truth. God's plans are to prosper us, not to harm us. His peace is the anchor that holds us steady when the waves threaten to overwhelm us. This peace is not passive, it is powerful. It gives us the strength to endure and the clarity to make decisions. When our minds are filled with fear and anxiety, it becomes difficult to discern God's voice. But when we anchor ourselves in his peace, we create space for his guidance. His peace becomes the lens through which we view our circumstances, allowing us to respond with faith rather than fear. The assurance of God's presence is central to this peace. In Jeremiah 29:13, God promises you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. This means that peace is not something we have to search for in the world. It is found in God himself. When we seek him wholeheartedly, we invite his peace to rule in our hearts and minds. It's important to understand that peace does not mean the absence of conflict. Even Jesus said, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart. I have overcome the world," John 16:33. God's peace doesn't promise a life without challenges, but it does promise his presence in the midst of them. It is the assurance that no matter what we face, we are never alone. This assurance allows us to live boldly and confidently. When we know that God's plans are for our good and that his peace is guiding us, we can step into the unknown without fear. We can make decisions that align with his will, even when they don't make sense to others. We can face opposition with grace and courage because we are anchored in the truth that God is in control. Peace also has a ripple effect. When we are anchored in God's peace, it overflows into our interactions with others. We become peacemakers, reflecting God's character to the world around us. Our lives become a testimony of his faithfulness, showing others that his peace is available to them as well. As you start your day, let the peace of God anchor you. Begin by reminding yourself of his promises in Jeremiah 29. Speak them over your life and declare them with faith. When challenges arise, let his peace guide your responses. Remember that peace is not about avoiding difficulties, but about facing them with the assurance that God is with you. The plans God has for you are good, and his peace is the proof of his presence. It is your anchor, your strength, and your guide. No matter what today holds, you can walk forward with confidence, knowing that God's peace will sustain you every step of the way. Hope is the currency of faith. It is the spark that ignites belief, the foundation upon which faith is built. Without hope, faith has nothing to hold on to, no direction to move toward. Jeremiah 29:11 reminds us of this truth when it declares, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." In these words, God establishes hope as central to his relationship with us and his plans for our lives. Hope is not just wishful thinking or optimistic dreaming. It is a confident expectation rooted in the promises of God. Hope looks beyond what is seen and trusts in what God has spoken, even when circumstances seem to contradict it. It is the anchor that holds our faith steady when doubts try to creep in. Without hope, faith becomes stagnant and directionless, like a ship without a sail. But when hope is alive in us, faith finds its focus and begins to move. Jeremiah 29:11 is a beacon of hope because it points us to God's intentions for our lives. It assures us that he has a future planned for us, one filled with prosperity and peace. But this future doesn't happen automatically. It requires hope to believe in it and faith to step into it. Hope gives us the ability to see beyond our current circumstances and envision the good things God has prepared for us. It reminds us that no matter how difficult today may be, tomorrow holds the possibility of breakthrough and blessing. When we lose hope, we lose perspective. Life's challenges can feel overwhelming, and the road ahead can seem impossible. But hope restores our vision. It lifts our eyes from the immediate and helps us focus on the eternal. It reminds us that God's plans are not limited by our struggles or setbacks. In fact, hope often shines brightest in the darkest moments because it forces us to rely on God rather than our own understanding. Faith cannot operate in a vacuum. It needs hope to thrive. Hope is the soil in which faith grows. Without hope, faith becomes a lifeless concept, disconnected from the promises of God. But when hope is present, faith becomes vibrant and active. Hope says, I believe God's promises are true. Faith responds, I will act on them. The two are inseparable, working together to bring God's plans to fruition in our lives. Starting your day with hope is essential. Each morning brings a choice to dwell on the uncertainties of life or to focus on the certainty of God's promises. When you choose hope, you set the tone for your day. You remind yourself that no matter what challenges may come, God's plans for you are good. This mindset fuels your faith and empowers you to face the day with confidence and joy. Hope also transforms the way you pray. When you approach God with hope, your prayers are filled with expectation. You don't just ask for things, you believe that God will answer. You don't just seek guidance, you trust that He will lead you. This kind of hopeful prayer strengthens your relationship with God and opens the door for His power to work in your life. Jeremiah 29:11 doesn't just speak to our future, it speaks to our present. It calls us to live with hope today, knowing that God's plans are already in motion. Even if you can't see the full picture, you can trust that He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events for your good. Hope allows you to walk by faith, not by sight. It gives you the courage to take the next step, even when the path ahead is unclear. Hope is contagious. When you live with hope, it inspires those around you. Your confidence in God's promises becomes a testimony to His faithfulness. Others see the joy and peace that hope brings, and they are drawn to the source of your strength. In this way, your hope becomes a light in the darkness, pointing others to the God who holds the future. As you begin each day, let hope be your first thought. Speak the promises of Jeremiah 29:11 over your life. Declare that God's plans for you are good and that your future is filled with hope. Let this hope fuel your faith and guide your steps. When you live with hope, you position yourself to receive all that God has prepared for you, and your faith becomes the vehicle that carries you into His promises. Seek and you will find. This timeless principle, echoed in Jeremiah 29:13, is a divine invitation from God to pursue Him with all our hearts. It is not a passive suggestion or a casual call. It is a promise that when we seek Him with intention, we will find Him. God is not distant or hidden. He is near and waiting for us to take the first step toward Him. Seeking God is more than an act of devotion. It is the key to unlocking His wisdom, direction, and purpose for every area of our lives. To seek God wholeheartedly means to prioritize Him above everything else. It requires us to go beyond surface-level prayers or occasional moments of reflection. It is about engaging with God in a way that is deliberate and passionate. Just as we pursue relationships, goals, or dreams that matter deeply to us, we are called to pursue God with the same intensity. This kind of seeking involves our time, attention, and focus. It is a daily commitment to draw closer to Him and to align our lives with His will. Jeremiah 29:13 reveals the heart of God. You will seek me and find me. When you seek me with all your heart, God does not play games with us. He does not withhold Himself or make it difficult for us to find Him. Instead, He promises that when we approach Him with sincerity and dedication, we will encounter Him. This promise assures us that God desires relationship, not religion. He wants to be known, loved, and included in every aspect of our lives. When we seek God, we unlock His wisdom. Life is filled with decisions, challenges, and uncertainties that can leave us feeling overwhelmed or unsure of what to do. But God's wisdom is available to those who seek Him. He knows the answers to our questions, the solutions to our problems, and the steps we need to take to fulfill our purpose. Seeking God opens the door for His guidance, allowing us to move forward with confidence and clarity. Seeking God also brings alignment. As we spend time in His presence, our desires begin to reflect His. Our hearts become attuned to His will, and our priorities shift to match His purpose. This alignment is crucial because it ensures that we are not chasing after things that will lead us away from Him. Instead, we begin to pursue what truly matters: His kingdom, His righteousness, and His plans for our lives. God invites us to seek Him not only in moments of need, but in every season of life. It is easy to turn to God when we are facing difficulties or when we feel lost, but seeking Him should be a constant practice. When we seek Him daily, we build a relationship that sustains us through both the highs and the lows. We learn to depend on Him not just for answers, but for the peace and joy that come from being in His presence. This wholehearted seeking also requires surrender. To seek God fully, we must let go of anything that competes for His place in our hearts. Distractions, fears, and even our own plans can pull us away from Him. But when we surrender these things, we create space for God to work in us and through us. Surrender is not a loss. It is an exchange of our limited understanding for His infinite wisdom, our worries for His peace, and our plans for His purpose. When we pursue God wholeheartedly, we begin to experience His transformative power. His presence brings renewal to our minds, healing to our hearts, and strength to our spirits. He equips us with everything we need to walk in His purpose. This transformation is not just for us, it overflows into every area of our lives, impacting our relationships, our decisions, and even the way we view the world. The promise of Jeremiah 29:13 is a reminder that God is accessible and approachable. He is not a distant deity, but a loving Father who longs to be found by His children. The act of seeking Him is not about earning His favor, it is about discovering the depth of His love and the fullness of His plans for us. As you begin each day, commit to seeking God with all your heart. Set aside time to pray, read His word, and listen for His voice. Invite Him into your decisions, your challenges, and your dreams. Remember that seeking God is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey. And as you seek Him, you will find that His wisdom, direction, and presence are more than enough for whatever lies ahead. The power of starting right cannot be overstated. How you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. From the moment you wake up, your mindset, priorities, and focus are established, shaping the trajectory of your actions, decisions, and attitudes. Jeremiah 29 serves as a divine compass, guiding us to walk in purpose and fulfill the destiny God has designed for us. Starting right is not just about routine, it's about alignment with God's plans and promises. In Jeremiah 29:11, God declares, "For I know the plans I have for you." This affirmation is a reminder that each day is part of a greater story authored by God. When you start your day with this truth, you shift your perspective. You are no longer approaching life aimlessly or reacting to circumstances. Instead, you are stepping into a day already designed with divine intention. This awareness fills you with confidence and clarity, knowing that nothing in your day is accidental or without purpose. Starting right begins with seeking God first. Before the noise of the world demands your attention, take a moment to quiet your heart and turn your thoughts toward Him. This is not just an act of devotion, it is a declaration that God is your priority. When you invite Him into the first moments of your day, you align yourself with His will and open the door for His guidance and wisdom. Jeremiah 29 is a perfect anchor for your morning. It reminds you that God's plans are for your good, filled with hope and a future. As you meditate on this promise, you set the foundation for a mindset of faith and expectation. Instead of being weighed down by doubts or fears, you are empowered to face the day with courage and assurance. You walk into each moment with the understanding that God is not only with you, but actively working on your behalf. How you start also determines how you respond to challenges. Life is unpredictable, and each day brings its share of difficulties. But when you begin with the truth of Jeremiah 29, you are equipped to handle these moments with grace and resilience. Knowing that God's plans include peace, hope, and a future gives you the strength to endure setbacks and the wisdom to navigate obstacles. You are not reacting out of fear or frustration, you are responding from a place of trust in God's sovereignty. The power of starting right also lies in intentionality. It is easy to rush into the day, letting tasks, schedules, and demands dictate your focus. But when you start with purpose, you take control of your direction. You align your actions with God's plans and ensure that your efforts are meaningful and productive. This intentionality transforms mundane tasks into opportunities to glorify God and fulfill your calling. Jeremiah 29 also reminds us that starting right is about connection. The promise, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart," underscores the importance of relationship with God. Starting your day with Him is not about checking a box. It's about deepening your connection with the one who holds your future. It's about allowing His presence to fill you with peace, His wisdom to guide your decisions, and His love to shape your interactions. When you start your day with God, you position yourself to recognize His hand in every moment. You become more aware of His guidance, more sensitive to His voice, and more attuned to His purpose. This awareness transforms the way you approach your day. Every encounter, opportunity, and challenge becomes part of a greater narrative, and you begin to see how God is weaving everything together for your good. The power of starting right extends beyond you. When you align yourself with God's plans, you become a source of encouragement and inspiration to others. Your faith, peace, and confidence radiate to those around you, creating a ripple effect of hope and purpose. Your life becomes a living testimony of Jeremiah 29, showing others that God's plans are real and His promises are true. As you embrace the power of starting right, let Jeremiah 29 be your guide. Use its promises to frame your perspective and shape your actions. Begin each day with God, knowing that He has already prepared the way for you. Walk in the assurance that His plans are good, His presence is constant, and His purpose for your life is unfolding with every step you take. When you start right, you don't just set the tone for your day, you set the tone for a life lived in alignment with God's perfect will. As we draw this journey to a close, let us remember that Jeremiah 29 is not just a passage to be read, it is a call to action, a divine blueprint for living a life of purpose, peace, and destiny. Every promise in these verses carries the weight of heaven's authority, reminding us that we are not aimless wanderers but intentional creations, crafted by the hands of a loving and sovereign God. God's plans for you are good plans to prosper you, to give you hope, and to secure your future. But these plans are not automatic, they require your participation. They call for you to seek Him with all your heart, to walk in the peace He provides, and to anchor your faith in the hope of His promises. How you start each day matters because each day is a divine opportunity to align yourself with the purpose for which you were created. Today you stand at the threshold of greatness. The key is in your hands. Will you embrace the peace that anchors, the hope that fuels, and the faith that activates God's plans for your life? Will you rise each morning with the resolve to seek Him first, allowing His thoughts to direct your steps and His promises to inspire your path? Remember, the God who spoke Jeremiah 29:11 over His people then is the same God who speaks it over you now. His word is eternal, His promise is unchanging. You are not forgotten, you are not alone, and your life is not without meaning. The future He has prepared for you is filled with abundance, not by the world's standards, but by His abundance of purpose, joy, and fulfillment in His presence. So go forward with boldness. Start each day with the truth of Jeremiah 29 as your compass. Let it guide you, strengthen you, and inspire you to live the life God designed. Walk with confidence, knowing that the one who holds your future also holds your hand. And as you walk, may your life become a testament to the goodness, faithfulness, and power of the God who created you for such a time as this. Rise every morning with purpose. Live every moment with intention. And fulfill the destiny for which you were born, for in doing so you glorify the God who planned it all from the beginning of time. Let His plans for you unfold step by step as you seek Him, trust Him, and walk with Him into the future He has already secured.